Hi, everybody. I'm Joey Florence, and as you may have already heard, Canadian Abilities Foundation's Power Up program, funded by the RBC Foundation, is designed to help you uncover the hidden job market and find ways to better access opportunities. As part of our ongoing Power Up video series, I'm happy to introduce Armaan Badhan. Armaan is a current social work student and a job coach at Home Bloorview, supporting adolescents with disabilities with employment skills. Job coaching is the support of skills in employment, such as learning your job, which he supports by reflecting participants' learning supports. He incorporates aspects of lived experience, employment, and education as attributes to why he does what he does. So, some of his hobbies also include reading, hanging out with friends, and family. Together today, we're going to talk about balancing work and life, including wellness and boundaries, mental health, daily coping strategies, and preventing burnout. Our goal is to teach you realistic boundaries, how to speak up early, and how to recognize when you need support. So, without further ado, let's get started. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
So, my first question that I want to ask is what helps you keep a healthy balance between work and personal life?
So for me, being both a student and somebody who currently works, I find being very expressive with both your peers at school and professors, and also your colleagues at work to be very important. Whenever I have a deadline coming up, I get quite stressed out, like a lot of people do. So just being transparent with your professors about your accommodations for education, for instance, is a good way to kind of navigate that, but also with your supervisors at work. For instance, literally last month, I had an exam on a work day and I couldn't cram my exam prep into my work day. So I asked my colleagues if I could just take a break from work and they happily obliged.
That's amazing. And thank you for that example. I think it's one that a lot of people have. I use that all the time when I am feeling stressed or overwhelmed. And you just need a minute to say, hey, I'm here. I want to do the work, but I just may need a few minutes, right? I think that's such an important thing to also help accommodate with whatever you need. So in terms of that, we talked about stress and feelings of stress or anxiety. How do you recognize your own early signs of stress?
That's a great question. For me, whenever I experience stress, I always have a really intense, lingering thought about what I'm stressing about throughout the whole day. So, for instance, if I had an exam coming up weeks from now, the only thing that will be on my mind is the exam. Even when I'm sleeping, I'm thinking about the exam. So that's one indication for me that I'm currently experiencing stress.
And so, what are some daily habits that you do to help you stay well when you're at work or when you're at school, or
Mhm.
even just your daily life?
So in regards to stress, I find it really important to find like-minded people who are kind of going through the same experience that you're going through. So I find with school especially, everybody has exams, and once you develop a good social group, you can all collectively work together to overcome your stress by doing your work together.
I like that. Yeah, some teamwork, some communication. I think that's so important, right? Helping, using other people and working with other people to help alleviate some stress that you might be feeling. I think that's such a great way.
Yeah, one thing I noticed, especially later on in university, is that when you develop social groups in school, not only are you socializing and meeting new great people, but you're also helping each other in terms of learning.
Absolutely. And it also helps with, that knowledge of we're all going through this together, right? And when we have more people helping us out, we can do the same for other people as well. And you can always piggyback off that. I think that's so lovely. That's a great example. Thank you. So, in terms of, communication, I also was wondering, how do you communicate a boundary in a way that feels respectful to yourself and to other people?
For boundaries, I find it to be very important that you convey what you want to set a boundary about very clearly to the person, but you also want to preface that the boundary that you're setting is not out of malice or ill intention. It's for you both to have healthy relationships with each other.
Like that. Yeah, yeah. It's not out of anything of anger or anything. It's really so you both can work on that relationship together. I think that's so great.
Mhm.
And so let's say you've had a harder day at school or harder day at work. What helps you come back from a hard or emotional day?
So, in regards to both school and work, I find taking breaks to be very refreshing for both your physical and mental sanity. So,
Yeah.
for me, I find that whenever I'm at work, there might be a task that I'm doing that's very mentally draining. And just taking some time to sit back and relax is really important, like a 5 or 10 minute break for both school and work.
Yeah, yeah, and it actually helps a lot with, I remember for studying, for example, if you
Mhm.
take even just a 5 minute break in between that, you're actually
Yeah,
able to recoup what you've learned and also recoup some of the energy that you've just used on the job that you've done or the thing that you were just studying. And it really helps, bring you back to the present moment, right? Taking even just 5 minutes of whether it is just, sitting and doing something else or sitting and working on your breath and focusing
yeah.
inwards. Yeah. What do you do to take care of yourself while advocating for your needs?
So at work, I like to share with my supervisors and colleagues what are some things that help me do my best at work. So in regards to breaks, we have breaks at work, which is lovely. But I also like to tell my colleagues and my peers what helps me do my best work. So I find that for me, I really like straight, direct instructions, typically written. But I find for me, I have really good visual memory. So having written instructions is wonderful for me.
I love that. And thank you for saying that because everybody has different needs. Everybody has different ways that might help accommodate them. And so
For sure.
you, for example, said that, having written down instructions on like step by step, things like that, that's a great way to tell people, hey, I can do the best work I possibly can when work is given to me in this certain way. And I think that's such an important way of advocating for your needs. What are
Yeah,
some
I find
other, oh yeah, yeah.
sorry. Like I when I talk to my friends, a lot of them at their workplace talk about how in regards to learning new jobs, they find it very difficult because their supervisor is not necessarily accommodate their learning support needs. But I think it's very important for yourself to advocate in that regard. And I find that most times people are reciprocal to help.
Totally, totally. And yeah, you're so right. And the thing I was actually going to ask was you almost answered it too, but in a little more detail or examples, because your work at Home View is as a job coach. And I'm wondering, you mentioned your ways of advocating for your needs and things that help you learn specifically. Are there other things that you've seen at Home View or students have asked of how they might help advocate for their needs?
So through my role at Holland Bloorview, I do a lot of job coaching, which supports youth with disabilities with employment. And a lot of instances of accommodations revolve around accessibility. So this past summer, I had a client who needed support with their work setup space because it was not accommodating for disability. And as my support as a job coach, what I did was I asked them what they needed accommodations for, and they wanted their desk to be lower.
Yeah. Yeah, right. So thank you for saying that as well, right? It could be things like instructions, like what you were saying, but it could also be physical things that might need changing, right? A desk lower or maybe a larger screen, right? Things like that that might not be known to us that we know, written down or things like that, but things that are in our physical environment as well. That's part of advocating for your needs. Thank you for saying that. I'm curious, what do you do on days when your motivation's a bit lower?
It's a great question. So for me, motivation is what really keeps me going. When I have no motivation, I can't keep going. But for me, when I think about it, motivation is a part of discipline. So, for instance, if I want to get my assignment completed, I may be not motivated to do it. But if I set my mindset as to once I get started, things will get flowing, that's what motivates me. The initial part of starting something helps you get going.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree with that. I think that the first step or the first starting is sometimes the hardest. Whether it's writing an essay or applying to a job, it might feel so daunting when we're first starting it out or reading the description of a job. And just by simply starting it, yeah, that might be really tough. But I think starting the process, starting a task will actually, you've already made one step to completing the task.
For sure. Like time back to employment. For me, after I graduated from high school, I took a gap year, and that whole part of joining the labor force, getting a job was really daunting at first. But once you get started, it gets a lot better.
Yeah, yeah, and that's a question that we've had a little bit in all of these interviews. But I'm curious how you actually also deal with that kind of daunting feeling of, oh my goodness, I'm either applying to a new job, I don't know where to start, or hey, I've just gotten a job, I also don't even know where to start now that I'm stepping into the environment. What are some suggestions that you have for people?
I think that's really important to recognize that the fact that you're having those feelings and thoughts in of itself is really good because you're acknowledging what you're feeling. But through those feelings in of itself, I think it's really good to talk to someone about how you're feeling, whether
Yeah.
it be with a supervisor at a new workplace, a professor if you're unclear about an assignment.
Yeah, absolutely, right? Talking to people who are there to help, right? Our
Mhm.
managers are there to help us. Our teachers are there to help us. We as job coaches are there to help you,
Yeah, I
right?
feel like currently a lot of people demonize supervisors or professors at school, but a lot of them have a lot of goodwill behind your education or your employment.
I love that. Thank you. And I totally agree with that. I think a lot of the time too, what we don't always know how to talk about or understand is this feeling of burnout. Have
Mhm.
you ever felt burnout or had symptoms of feeling burnout? And if so, how did you kind of get yourself out of that?
Yeah, I would say this summer I had quite a bit of worn out. I was working more hours during the summer, and I was also commuting to different places for work. So when I experienced the burnout, what I found for myself was that I could not think at all. Like for me, I could think typically, but on that specific day, I could not think about my work. I was thinking about not working. And what ended up happening was I talked to my supervisor about going home early to get some rest and I can work from home. And I'm lucky that through my work, I'm able to have the opportunity. But for me, in regards to burnouts, I find that taking breaks and having a mental reset to be good for me.
Amazing. Yeah, and I find that as well. When I'm feeling overwhelmed or when I'm feeling quite exhausted, that burnout feeling, yeah, taking breaks and taking a step back are so helpful,
Yeah.
right? It really changes it. I have one more question for you, and I also want to just thank you so much because you've given such amazing information from your experience and from your own personal life. What is one thing that you want to leave everybody with of, maybe a tidbit of something that you've learned or how to stay healthy when going through this whole process of looking for jobs or getting a job?
I find it so important in regards to doing anything in life to always have people around you.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Yeah, having the group of people around you that are supportive, whether it be your parents, whether it be your friends, whether it be your teachers, your job coaches, there is such a wide network that we all have. And it really is about sometimes sitting down and thinking, writing it down. Who do I have in my life that I can reach out to for this, right? Because everybody we have in our life might be able to help in different ways. Sometimes our friends might have connections that we don't know about. Sometimes our parents might be able to help us, practice for an interview that we have, right? So many different ways of using our network, and
Yep.
having those people around us to help. Thank you. That's a great, great answer.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure to speak with you, and I look forward to talking again soon.
All right. Take care.
Take care.